Hi, and welcome to Across the Desk. This week, we have Sean Cummings on. We're going to talk about a little event he went to yesterday.
Lordy.
It did big news everywhere. You even made some national headlines too, right?
I believe it or not. Yeah, I made it. So the Washington Times is a really right-wing newspaper, and I ended up in that, for goodness sakes.
And that's what we're going to talk about this week on Across the Desk. Sean, so what happened yesterday? How did you get invited, for one thing? What was it you were invited to, and how did it go?
Okay, so the best way to put this is Ryan Walters, used to be Secretary of Education. He's out of that as of yesterday. But he is our superintendent of public schools. So he's got a big job. He had both jobs. And before the meeting yesterday, he was making $160 grand a year. And after the meeting, he was making $120. And I'm sorry to smile so big, but I don't believe I caused that, but I helped propel it forward. This guy, I don't mean this to be mean to anybody, but you get people sometimes, and they feel like they're little people and that other people are big people, and in order to sit at the big table, you got to do something to get there. Okay. Rather than just slowly earn your way up. Yeah. He wanted to get there a little quicker, so he decided to do some pretty nefarious stuff. I think that's fair. And you know, he's taking the gay agenda and the trans agenda and all this other stuff, going pornography as if it's not everywhere. Yeah. Thinks it's in schools, but he can't find it or produce it. Yeah. So, I've been fighting with him for a while, and you know me well enough to know I'm fairly ruthless. Yeah. It takes me a while to get me to bite your leg, but once I bite it, I'm not letting go. I'm like a pit bull when it comes to that. So, there was a meeting yesterday about a school board called the Statewide Virtual Charter School Board. Okay. You have to type that into the computer correctly or you're not finding it.
You're finding it.
They do a meeting at 2 o'clock yesterday, and it's for parents, right? Yeah. Yeah, what parent can be there at 2? You got to pick your kids up at 3 or you're at work. Yeah. So I go because I'm familiar with it. It's about the Catholic Church in Oklahoma applied for a charter school license, I guess is the way it works, but they get public money. Yeah. Directly to them. And that's the problem. It is illegal in our Constitution. So any of you that are watching are Catholic and think I'm against the church or anything, I got many things to complain about. This is low on the list. Yeah. But we're a church. Yeah. Are we supposed to be doing stuff that's illegal? Yeah. That's why I
think it's a Constitution of Oklahoma.
Right. Why are we pushing this? I don't understand it. But I'm also, my second one that I questioned today is, why is the Catholic Church working with this loser?
I don't know.
He's a shifty, lying, cheating, conniving guy. Yeah. And my church works with him.
Yeah, man, he spins everything so much. Right. You know?
So, which part do you want me to start with?
Well, how were you invited?
Okay, so I wasn't invited, but these meetings are open.
They're open.
And you can go in, you sign up.
You just signed up.
And then I signed up to speak. So the deal is, if you speak on an agenda item, you need to know what an agenda is, so look it up. Yeah. An agenda item, you can usually speak 4 minutes, and then non-agenda, 3 minutes. So I had an agenda item. All of that matters for anybody that's never been to a deal.
That was interesting. Okay, and the meeting was for the private charter school, online, whatever.
Exactly. Statewide, internet, or virtual charter.
So you get in there. You're in there as a speaker. You get up there and speak. Right. And what happens?
And I have to follow Colin Walkie's wife, who is the single best speaker that exists. And I'm like, okay.
She does it every Sunday.
I gotta bring my A game. So what I started off with is I go, look, I'm Catholic. My wife's Catholic. We both went to Catholic schools. All 5 of our kids went to Catholic schools. They were great. Yeah. This is what's given me the confidence to get in front of you and be able to speak like this. Yeah. Now let's talk about literally, the word actually means no religion. So look it up in the Oklahoma Constitution. There's no reason to get into this because we'd have to cut that part out. Okay. You want to look it up and just see. It specifically says, no religion.
No religion.
Right. So you go, why are we doing this? Yeah. Okay? So, but this is the problem that happens. So I start off and I go, look, you're not a victim, you're a volunteer. If you do this, because if you let them in, we let in the satanic church that wants to do their own school, and they get government money.
And that was in the Washington Examiner.
Right.
Was,
that's what they bought.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's important. Now, do you get to blame me for
Yeah.
that, or do you blame the people that brought it forward knowing that was the deal?
Yeah.
And I could see them, I read a room pretty well. I was a stand-up comedian, so you see them shaking their heads. But that isn't what killed the whole deal. I eventually said, look, this isn't a virtual school. This is a virtual school as well as a block school or a
brick and mortar.
Brick and mortar. Because you're having the students go there for 2 different classes per week. And I said, we had child molesting priests where I was from when I was little for 30 years. And they got moved to place to place to place. I met them in 3rd grade and ran into them again junior year in high school. And I go, what guardrails are you putting up to make sure that this isn't happening in all of these virtual schools that aren't virtual?
Yeah.
They're for brick and mortar, as you said. I said, where are the guardrails?
Where are they?
And they were like, huh? And I go, we can't even do anything about Ringling, Oklahoma. But you think you're going to go up against a Notre Dame attorney or a Georgetown attorney who's hiding information for the church? Because that's what we were all up against.
Yeah.
I go, where are the guardrails? And I saw his face whenever I mentioned Ringling.
Ryan.
Because he's never done anything.
Was that Ryan?
Yeah.
Well, because he specifically didn't put the guardrails in it.
Right.
There's no teeth in anything they do because they don't want accountability for that. It's the same thing with a class wallet deal and everything else. Well, these people, what can we go after? No, not really. There's no teeth in there.
And you have to, those are guardrails.
Yeah,
you have to put them in, especially when you're dealing with children.
Yeah.
And he hasn't done anything about the other deal. But I don't think any of the other people picked up on the Ringling thing. And I was stinging him with that because it was front page of the newspaper.
Yeah, exactly. And so it was, and the vote was 5-0. 5-0.
There was no question.
No, yeah.
And so there were 3 no votes, no matter what.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you can read the room. There's 3 no votes.
They're not voting for this.
And so the guy changed it, and he said, what we'll do is give them this list of things, including you have to prove why this passes our constitutional muster, which it doesn't.
It doesn't.
Somebody from the AG's office was there telling them that it doesn't.
It doesn't. And Ryan Walters was out today on his Twitter feed spinning that to no, you're the ones who are unconstitutional because you're trying to make it an atheist religious state. That's what he was out today. You're trying to make it an atheist religious state, and that's what's unconstitutional. And it was like, no, man, that's not,
this is such
that
crazy
doesn't even
stuff.
spin right, man.
So he must have bought into the demonic stuff. I would say maybe that's what he remembered because that's his state of mind.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
I look at it and go, look, for one, the Catholic Church shouldn't have brought it.
Yeah.
They evidently had a 6-week seminar at Notre Dame with all their law professors and other lawyers to figure out how to come to Oklahoma and present this. It was a terrible presentation.
Fair presentation. Oh.
They didn't present it, and look, these are talented people.
Yeah.
They can do better than this.
Yeah.
So these deals go back to them. Within 30 days, we'll get an answer, and I'll be back down there again. And look, the other speech, Lori Walkie killed it. Everybody else were people of the cloth, meaning other religions, and they were just like, keep religion out.
When he said, so that was the other thing that was in like the TLO and everything else. Radical leftist.
Me.
Radical leftist. Does that go for Lori Walkie too, or
so
all of you guys, or what was it?
Non-Doc said it was all about me.
About you.
So it's not me bragging like I did something special. But
Non-Doc did, Trey Savage, right?
Yeah. But I think when he was saying the anti-Catholic stuff, no one ever said anything anti-Catholic, including me.
And I saw that in the reporting was the board chair said, hey, before we go further, I didn't see anybody attacking the Catholic Church or anything like that. And then Ryan was quick to come in, oh, you should see what they emailed me. Not during this session, other times.
Right.
So he's just trying to pull stuff out his butt.
It's hard to take a loss. A political loss sucks. I mean, when you go in, you go, I got the votes, I got this, I got this.
Yeah.
But they hadn't heard the AG's opinion. So they'd stacked new board members. But the AG sent a representative over there, a young lady, probably in her 30s, but very curt and smart. So she would tell you what might happen. And then they would go, what about this and this? She goes, oh no, I only get to tell you that if you know this is constitutionally wrong and you choose to do it, you do not have what's called legislative immunity, where they'll cover you. You're on your own. And that would personally bankrupt anybody.
Yeah.
So the guy running it, here's an interesting thing. I don't want to take all the time here.
Okay.
The guy running it said, we're going to be sued either way. Either the Catholic Church is going to sue us because we didn't do it, or these other people are going to sue us because we did do it. So everybody on there individually is going to get sued either way. Why would you join that group?
Yeah, why would you join that group?
And did they know?
That's not, that just tells you something right there.
Right.
You're getting in bed with somebody who, if they don't get their way,
It's gonna
was going to sue you.
Right.
No matter what, if it's constitutional, unconstitutional, if their case is weak or not. Just as an intimidation tactic. Just
Right.
because, hey, this is going to make you sweat a little if you get a registered letter in the mail that says you're being sued.
Right. So here's what I would like to say for the board members. I hope they get a chance to watch this or somebody tells them. That was the single best board I've ever been in front of in my entire life.
Wow.
They were thoughtful. They questioned. They knew their stuff. They didn't take any outside BS from anybody. We were all respectful.
No way. You mean they were better than the Oklahoma County Commissioners?
I know.
Better than them?
Hard to
Now
believe.
those guys are just on top of things, right?
Yeah. A big old pile of, you know what?
Yeah, exactly.
I was proud of them. I was proud of them for being mature and standing up. So I have faith that it's possible that maybe the future of this works out. But the two younger people have families. They can't take on this legal debt.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't want somebody going to them in the next 30 days saying, we'll cover it. Because Ryan was like, hey, any of you that want to vote for this, I'll be behind you. And you go, with what?
With what?
You got nothing? You got 40,000 less
Now,
than you started with.
Talking about Ryan Walsh, the other news that was on there was that he lost his other position
Right.
and a quarter of his pay.
Yeah,
Right?
that's nice, isn't it?
So,
I mean,
yeah.
I never want to wish anything bad on people
Yeah.
except him.
You know, and I saw something where people were saying, you know, a lot of that has to do with they picked the other person, or the governor did, because they were afraid they weren't going to get Ryan through the legislature again.
He
'Cause
was
he's
not
made a
gonna-
lot of enemies
Yeah.
there.
Well, he doesn't, look, you say what you need to do to get elected. A
Yeah.
lot of people do. And I'm not saying you said anything.
Yeah.
I mean, you, anybody.
Yeah.
And then once you get elected, you got to work with the group you have. I literally just sent a text before I came in here going, you might want to sit down and so and let's figure out if we can get over this last election.
Yeah.
That's my job.
Yeah.
Is to go, I'll sit down. Come act like adults.
Yeah.
But he has never moved to that level because I honestly watched him yesterday and his feet were moving, his hands are moving. He's going from the agenda
anxious.
to his phone.
Anxiety.
Something.
Big time.
I mean, that's not right.
I
Whatever
mean,
that was.
I shake my legs a lot, but I ADHD
Yeah.
and I got a lot of energy.
And maybe
so
that's all it is.
maybe that's
but
what that is
you
too.
gotta
But
focus.
really, when it makes you look like you're anxious.
Right. So I don't know. I think he thought he was going to muscle these folks or something
Yeah.
because he gave a little speech. This is the time we can do this. And then the AG jumped back in and goes, no, it's illegal.
No, it's illegal. It's illegal. It's against the Constitution of
So-
Oklahoma.
So yeah, and here's the fallout. This is the stuff that happened. Do we have enough time for me to tell you the fallout?
Go ahead, man. We got
Okay.
about 5 more minutes.
So I've gotten messages from fellow Catholics. Why would you be slightly embarrassed you're a Catholic? And I go, well, what I said. Everybody takes
Yeah.
their little 3 words that they want to hit
they
you with.
put in there.
And I caught some stuff for it, but I also had maybe 100 people go, wear that like a badge of honor.
No
I mean,
kidding,
who
man.
cares, man?
No kidding. Yeah. Radical leftist! Exclamation
I know.
point right here.
So Mark Falk, who I do a lot of work with down at the county courthouse, was like, man,
Been on the show before.
you beat me out.
You beat
You're
me
number
out.
one now. It's usually me that gets called that.
The
So,
radical leftist.
so I'm good with the way it worked. I'm happy that 2 hits came yesterday.
Now that's the other thing I noticed too. He was absolutely saying that certain people shouldn't get a say. That's absolutely what he said, isn't it? Hey man, why are we listening to these radical leftists at all? They're only citizens that pay taxes,
That pay his salaries.
that pay a salary.
Oh,
that,
I'm sorry,
are free.
salary after that one day. Oh.
I mean, they have rights, and I mean, it just makes you think that he thinks that if you're a Democrat, you go down and check that box. You've given up your constitutional rights. You've given up your citizenship. You've given away your protection of law. That's exactly what Ryan Walters thinks.
What he
very authoritarian.
sorely has misunderstood or underestimated is those of us that will fight.
Yeah.
He just thought nobody would ever. Why would anybody fight me? I say this and I go through. Well, you only hang around people that believe like you believe.
Yeah.
So.
And and your cult followers aren't politically savvy. They're cult followers who barely graduated 8th grade.
Yeah,
Most of them.
I would agree. Ron.
Oh yeah, exactly. There you go. School of Hard Knocks. That's where I'm from, right?
And another thing to watch that happened yesterday is Oklahoma Turnpike Association completely shut down all their projects yesterday.
Really?
So they can get clearance on this audit and everything else. So that was another citizens-led group.
Another citizen-led group.
They were really, really, really well-educated citizen group. I mean, ours
That's
is
good.
pretty smart, I think, but theirs is whole next level. There's a bunch of
next level
PhDs
kind.
and
Yeah,
lawyers.
okay.
And everything.
And they're really going. We need that to go after the OTA though. They're a big
Oh yeah.
mammoth.
Billions.
Yeah.
And so we need to watch that and learn. That's how to win.
There you go.
We're doing it ourselves. We're getting there.
Anything else we should know about what happened yesterday? Except 5-0, he got stopped. The radical leftist won. Is that what we got?
RLW. We got the.
Yeah.
You know, we don't get a lot of wins, and when we do, we really need to take it in and say these were people. If you listen to their conversations, a lot of them were constitutionalists and whatnot. Well, you go, it worked.
It worked.
It doesn't always mean you're right all the way or all the way left.
Yeah.
It just means you believe in a document, you know, and an idea.
Well, Sean,
Thanks,
good
brother.
job yesterday. You really got up there. You made headlines, man, just like a corduroy pillow. and
That was good.
And yeah, man,
I'm
great
happy
job.
it-
Great job.
happy it happened.
Thank you for bringing it to the show and sharing it with our audience about what happened and everything else that we threw.
Awesome.
Guys, this is Across the Desk, and as always, we'll be seeing you next week.
See ya.